that showing your film to not only the survivors, but the families of those who did not survive ended up being especially cathartic for the families of the people who did not survive. Could you talk a little bit about what that was like for them, seeing the film?
No, and also for the survivors. The survivors saw the film like right before we locked the cut. They were very shocked about the realism. They had the impression that they were there. And actually, it's what the visual effects guys did in this film is fantastic, because the geography is exactly the same. We shot in Spain, but the story is set up in the Andes, and they were able to recognize every single rock, every single mountain where the plane crashed. And they saw the film, they thought it was very intense, but they really appreciate the realism. And then we decided to show the film to the families of the ones who didn't make it. And one of the survivors said, listen, we've been 50 years not talking about it, not talking about the other ones, about what happened. There is this taboo, there is this silence between the two groups, and we should stop that. We need to see the film together. And we saw that immediately. So we decided to fill a whole theater, 360 people, with families of the people who was in that plane. And everybody was very nervous, the survivors, because they already had seen the film, and it's a pretty intense film. And the families of the deceased, no one has read a single line of the script before watching the film. But when the film finished, there was like this huge applause, and people suddenly hugging each other. People who for 50 years didn't talk about it. Somehow the film helped to break this taboo. And actually it was something very healing. I remember Gustavo Cervino, one of the survivors, telling me that the friend of Gustavo Nikolic, who died, the brother of Gustavo Nikolic, who died in the avalanche, came to him and hugged him, and suddenly, for the first time in 50 years, both of them were crying. And it was the brother from Gustavo Nikolic who said, I don't know if I'm crying for my brother or I'm crying for you. Which basically that tells you about the power of film, the ability to put the audience into the situation, make them feel the same things that they went through, and by doing so, by feeling the empathy for these characters, understand what they did, you know, and that idea, it was that the film changed that idea that was there for 50 years. You know, it's a whole life, you know,
And that's an incredible